Are you experiencing discrimination at work or worse, harassment? Not sure where to turn? My friends at Barrett and Farahani can help. Hey Atlanta, Dana Barrett here, host of The Dana Barrett Show, and I want you to get justice at work. The employment attorneys at Barrett and Farahani have been fighting for people just like you for almost 20 years. They specialize in wrongful termination, defamation of character, discrimination, overtime and wage disputes, executive compensation, and harassment cases. You may feel powerless, but I'm here to tell you, you are not. The lawyers at Barrett and Farahani believe you deserve justice at work, and they're ready to help you get it. If you know you need a lawyer or you think you might, contact Barrett and Farahani today for a free consultation. The number is 404-487-0903 or go to justiceatwork.com. That's 404-487-0903, justiceatwork.com. All right, we are back. It is Tech Tuesday on the Dana Barrett Show. And I was saying before we took our little short break there that I feel like none of us really know how to navigate the interwebs anymore because it's kind of still in many ways the wild, wild west.
Right.
But it's even worse for parents and kids. So joining us right now to talk about it is Kathy Loomis. She is the president of Cyber Savvy. Good morning to you.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So before we came on the air, you were saying this is like, you know, you're trying to create this business. You're 2 years in. So tell me a little bit about what inspired you to start it before we get into what you do.
Okay. Just a little history on me. I've been in technology since 2000, and I've kind of grown up with the industry. So I own a staffing firm that's called Synergy Network Solutions, and a big portion of my job was just to do technology research and stay ahead of everything that's coming. So when my daughter decided to join the digital world, I was like, oh, I've got this. I know this. I've basically staffed the developers. I know all the technology. I know what's coming down the pike.
I got you. I can keep you safe.
Right. And then, boy, was I wrong.
So first of all, how old is she now?
So she's 13.
And so when did you let her, because you just made it sound like she made the decision.
Right. No. I actively made the decision, and I did what most parents do, and I do that bridging thing when they go from 5th grade to 6th grade, from the elementary school to the middle school.
Yep.
I was like, okay, now's the time. She's ready. No, she wasn't ready, and I wasn't ready.
So, okay. All right. So I have to tell you, like, I have a little confession to make. I'm very, very young, but my child's older than that. And so she missed a lot of that. Like, a lot of this stuff that kids are dealing with now online, she was already a little bit older when it came into play. So I didn't really have to make that decision at 11 or 12 or 13. So when you say she wasn't ready, in what way?
Okay, in a couple of ways. First of all, some of the texting correspondence that was going on was a bit inappropriate. Whatever would come into her head would go out.
There was no filter.
Right, no filter.
Okay. And that's probably true for all kids that age.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that was part of it. And then there was part of it that I didn't realize how what a tool a smartphone can be. So back in the day, in the 80s, I used to give tours for another company that I worked of our computer room, and it was top to bottom computers, and literally they would do basically all the calculations for, essentially everything that needed a calculation.
Okay.
So we were proud of it.
Yeah.
Our smartphones today are 100 million times more powerful than that whole computer room.
Yeah. Right. So you're giving that hugely powerful tool to a kid who has no filter, who doesn't really understand that the world is a bad place, unfortunately, and doesn't really know how to navigate in that world with, if you were keeping them safe, which we're about to get to,
mm-hmm.
and they could only interact with their friends that they knew from the neighborhood or from class, different story.
Right.
But there are predators there, and there's content we don't want them to see, et cetera, et cetera. So fast forward, you decide there's a business here.
Well, no, I did not.
Okay.
So I decided to do some research because that's what I do.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, well, I'm going to educate myself. I'm going to figure it out, and so I can stay ahead of her and what she's doing. And there was so much. It was like drinking water out of a fire hose.
Yep.
But it wasn't all accurate. So I didn't know what to trust, where to go. So then just literally a year's worth of research, I decided, oh my gosh, I'm in technology. I've been in technology. I grew up with it. So if I can't figure it out, then the normal everyday person can't figure it out. And that's when I figured out, there's a business here.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a little bit of a bridge there in your own thinking. So now let's get to Cyber Savvy in particular. And what exactly do you guys do? What do you provide?
Okay. So our mission is really to educate parents and really equip parents so that they can help their children safely and effectively navigate their digital world.
Okay, so it's really about training for parents. That's sort of what you're providing.
Right, but it's training for parents, and also there's a component of training students.
Okay, and is it in-person training? Is it digital training? Is it games? Is it how are you accomplishing this?
Face to face.
Face to face.
It's a non-tech way to connect with parents and students and just tell them, these are the things that you have to look out for. Let's have conversations about this.
So I get that parents are going to be open to that, because I feel for all of you that waited to have your kids, ha ha ha. But I get it, because I feel like I hear this conversation with a lot of parents who are like, I want to trust my kids. I do trust my kids, but I also know how bad this stuff can be, and I don't know how to do it. So I get that parents are going to be open to this and want the training.
Right.
But are the kids open to it? Because I feel like kids think they know better than us from pretty much age 4 on.
Right. Well, therein lies the problem. Okay, so parents don't engage in their children's technology world because they fear that their children know way more than they do. And in some aspects, they do.
Yeah.
But in a lot of aspects, they don't. For example, kids, just because the way that they're biologically wired, their frontal lobe, which is their good person on their shoulder that says, don't do that, we should be more mindful, is underactive. And then they've got the limbic system that is way overactive. Their hormones are coursing through their body. So they're just doing what feels good. And as a parent, we need to step in and say, hey, that might not be so great,
Right.
and teach them to be a little bit more mindful of the things that they send out.
Yeah. That there's long-standing repercussions. Like for us, it used to be back in the day, this is going on your permanent record.
Right.
Now everything is on their permanent record.
It's all on their permanent record.
For us, it was just like when you misbehaved in school. That
Right.
was on your permanent record. I never did that.
Right.
But now it's everything they do. It's everything they send out, every picture, every video, every image, every comment, everything.
Everything. And I think that there's a huge misconception, especially with our young children today who are using Snapchat. It's ephemeral. So it disappears after a certain amount of time. And so they're like, okay, I can send this out and then be anonymous. Nobody's going to remember. But it's all stored on a Snapchat server somewhere.
That's right. Yes, it is.
People can purchase it so that they can see it again.
Cambridge Analytica.
Yes. I know. I was listening to your story beforehand. And I was like, people don't know that.
Yeah.
And then also just a screenshot. So if you send it out to a bunch of friends, one person opens it first, they go to the next friend, they said, let's screenshot this.
Right.
And that's how it becomes permanent.
And then they put it somewhere else, and then you have no control over it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're getting close, believe it or not, to running out of time here. But for people who are thinking that they might want to take a course like this, first of all, let's give them a little tease. Like, give me a tip for parents who are listening right now, just something they can do right off the bat to start to help.
Okay. I do my 5 top things that parents should do.
Okay.
The first thing is they need to educate themselves, and they need to engage in their children's world. So if they have no idea what Snapchat is, download it, play it. If they have no idea what Fortnite is, download it, play it. Ask your kids to play it with you. I know, it's a game. The next thing is to model behavior for your kids. So don't bring your telephones to the dinner table, because if you do it, they think it's okay. That disconnect is really disconnecting us. The disconnect with your family is disconnecting us from society as a whole. The next thing is to talk to your kids often.
Yeah.
I recommend that all parents use a technology usage contract so that they can go through each point. I think as parents, we assume that our kids know so much more than we give them credit for. And believe, when you start these conversations and you go through what your expectations are, you'll find your kids have no clue that was your value and that was your expectation.
Yeah.
So those are some of the reasons that you have to talk about it.
Interesting.
And then also just, monitor the moods of your kids as well as their technology. So we as parents know our kids more than anybody else.
Right.
So when we see something that's just not right, then you have to start those conversations with your kids.
Yeah, there could be a bullying thing going on or something. So, right. You need to ask questions right away. All right. So can you, because I feel like my daughter does know more about technology than I do. Can you as a parent just say, hey, what game is that? Can you show me how to use it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And just doing that shows or demonstrates to your child that you're engaged, that you want to know more about their world.
Because I've tried Snapchat and I don't get it.
Right.
So
I've played with it.
And
it's actually pretty fun.
My daughter's tried to explain it to me multiple times and I still don't get it. I was really proud of myself the other day because I had an actual back and forth on Snapchat. It took basically all of my human energy to make it happen.
Now can you streak?
No, I don't even know what that means.
All right.
And I think I'm pretty on top of things, but clearly I'm not as cyber savvy as you, Kathy Loomis. Thank you very much for sharing all of this with us. And of course, we'll post links to everything Kathy and everything cyber savvy on our show notes page at danabarrett.com.
Thanks for having me.
Tech Tuesday. We'll be back.